Welcome back. It's your favorite Doctor Who podcast talking about the new Doctor Who episodes and bound to be more coming away. Oh, well, obviously more in the season.
Yeah.
But I mean more stuff as well, not just
It's going to be in the cinemas, the final 2 episodes.
Well, not in Australia.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying it's
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
What?
I just realized.
What?
Oh no, I won't. I'm in Europe during the finale.
Yes.
I'm not in England though.
Oh,
I'm not in England. I'm
no.
not in England until start of June. So unless they're like,
Late.
oh, actually,
Nah, the dates have been confirmed, haven't they?
wait, no, because wait, hold on.
Hold up.
May 24th.
Yes.
That's when like episode 7 is. So
Okay.
June 1. Nah, I'm in Greece. Sorry, gang. Yeah.
Greece? I didn't know you were going to
Yeah, I'm
Greece.
going to Greece. Yeah, to all my I'm going to Greece. I won't just say my full trip because I don't want anyone to
Yeah.
find me. But Greece is a small country. People. But yeah. Actually,
Damn.
I'm gonna ask my girlfriend if we can change our plans just to be
Go.
just to be in England so we can watch the finale.
Yeah.
In cinemas. Oh, actually, sorry. Okay, I stop. I feel like I'm going off track here.
No.
But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming in. We are recording this the day that the Well episode is being released. So I'm sorry, it's about a week off, but that's okay. And I'm sure you're listening to this one because of the hype of the season and stuff. But thank you for tuning in. We are discussing Lucky Day, episode 4 of season 2/season 15.
Yes.
We are at the midpoint of the season, Louis.
Jesus.
And can you believe that 8 episodes? I mean, it's how it is.
Yeah.
It's how it is.
That's how it is.
But yeah, we're midway through the season. And I mean, what do you think about the season so far, Louis?
So much better.
So much. You think it's so much better?
Holy crap. Like the amount of better this is crazy.
Right. Okay.
Not sure if I should go on my opinions on this episode yet. Or do I?
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
The trajectory of this season actually feels like a season of television.
Okay.
Last
yeah.
season felt like a bunch of crap thrown at a wall and then had an ending. This one feels like it actually has a trajectory
Sure.
and has a purpose.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would say at the end of this episode, I felt hyped for the rest of the season.
I agree.
I felt
agree.
like,
I can't,
oh
yeah.
my, I'm feeling like there are antagonists. There are clear motivations of
Yeah,
stuff
we'll get to
happening.
that. Yeah.
There's actual world events that are happening, and the worlds felt larger and bigger, and I was like, yes, like it felt like the budget was actually being used, and I was like, yes. I don't know, so I was pretty hyped at the end of this one.
No,
so.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get into it, but I agree. I feel like the season's now picked up.
Yeah.
I feel like this is where it would have worked into like a season with more episodes. Is
Yeah.
that it's not like the first few episodes where things are happening. It's around like
Yeah.
the middle of the season where things start to begin to happen with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But you really feel that with this one now that it's starting to begin. And I mean, I didn't dislike last season. You and me on different parts where like I think it's one of your least favorite seasons
Yeah.
of New Who. And
Episodically, I think there's some good episodes in there. I just think
Yeah.
as a season, it's pretty weak.
because like this season's like I feel mixed about in a certain way because like I feel like the tones are definitely different. And there's some stuff that I kind of feel nostalgic for already about last season that I don't feel right now. But that's not like a quality level because I definitely agree
Right.
that this season's much better in quality.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, oh, the fun, the cheeriness, even though it wasn't written very well compared. I love that feeling in the last season, but maybe that's just because I haven't had that kind of Doctor Who for a while. So maybe that's just my nostalgia glasses on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I agree. I feel like the season is definitely well made.
It handles its themes better.
Yeah, but we'll definitely get into it. But I agree. I think this season's officially picking up. And
Yeah.
I think it's the right time kind of for that. But we'll get to that discussion. But yeah, I mean, actually, no. Do we want to go straight into it now?
Well, that's what we do. What else is there?
I was trying to think if there's any other talking points you wanted to say before going into the review, like anything in general. We don't need to. We'll get into the show.
I have no idea. So.
No. But yeah, let's get into it. So as we always do, we start with positives and negatives, but we kind of just said our overall thoughts just then. Is there anything else you want to say for overall, or good to just leave it straight into the review?
I think let's go straight into the
Okay, well, there you go.
review.
So we're reviewing Lucky Day.
Yeah.
So we start with the positives.
I'll start with a very very short, very silly positive.
Go for it.
I really felt Russell T Davies not in this episode.
Oh, okay.
I felt this episode felt so good when I was like, oh, this episode isn't touched by that weird. He's not weird.
Hey,
being touched by
he
that
gave us,
man.
like,
I know he gave us good stuff. I know.
he gave
But like,
us that arrow. He gave us
it was
one
refreshing.
special.
It was refreshing to have in this era of Doctor Who have an episode not touched by Russell T Davies, and I was like,
Well, I'm sure he touched it.
oh yeah, I know. But I don't know. Just there was something about. I don't know. And again, I don't know if he would have written this episode if it would have been different or how different it would have been. But like, I don't know. It just felt nice. This episode felt a nice, refreshing breath of fresh air for me, away from Russell.
Sure, I guess.
I felt like a little giddy man.
I don't know. It didn't feel like I personally didn't feel like, oh, this is such a massive change from Russell.
I did.
Right?
I did.
Like,
I thought a massive change.
It's a great,
especially how it handles the themes and how it handles how to talk about them and the dialogue being used.
Okay.
I was like, if it was Russell T Davies, it would have been like, burn in your face and like, this is the thing.
Sure.
And then like the Doctor would have like said the thing. While in this, it felt much more like,
No,
again, it's in your face, but it's not like,
no, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm just trying to cut Russell some slack because like he's giving us stuff like
I think
Midnight
Russell's a
and-
great writer. I guess
it feels very different from the modern era Russell.
I like
RTD
having a
too.
break from him being heavily involved in every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's what this middle chunk is about. But yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. It felt such a different episode as well.
Yeah. Moving on, like I'll do a positive because I have I have some positives, of course. So I really liked how this episode explored companion PTSD. I thought it was a very cool concept. So if y'all don't know, this episode it's an episode centered on Ruby. Ruby left last season, and
It's a set before episode 1.
Yes, episode 1 of season 2.
Yeah.
So because like I gotta say, I'll get to it. I didn't fully get that until like a few hours after watching it. I was like, oh yeah, wait, this is.
Well, he says at the end, you haven't met.
Yeah. But I didn't know if this entire episode was that, or that was just him from another time before he met Belinda. Because my brain was just confused. Like obviously, I know that now, but my brain was a bit confused because I thought, oh, this is happening right now while they're struggling to get to Earth.
Right.
But then I realized this isn't May 24th. The world hasn't ended yet. Yeah. So, but my brain was just a bit confused on that because I was like, oh, they can't get any help from the Doctor because the Doctor's trying to get back.
Yeah.
But my brain was just confused on that. But that's okay. But I really liked, So basically this episode, it's about Ruby kind of just living her life as part of UNIT kind of without the Doctor, and she meets this guy, and we'll get into that. But I really like how this episode explores, PTSD. She's very open about her feelings and going, like, when a little thing happens, when the light is switching off, she goes, oh, maybe something's happening that's like world ending. And that's something that I'm sure a lot of companions would feel. And I feel like that's not really explored in the show. I mean, you get in the Whittaker era, you get like a round table of like companions talking about how great the Doctor was. But
It's kind of like how it's like a subtle theme of like Donna. I guess Donna because she had to forget because of the crisis.
Sure.
But it's kind of like the thing of like Donna, you know, like you got to escape all that PTSD and got to live a normal life, while Ruby doesn't.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it's a thing that's not really explored very much because usually whenever a companion leaves, they go straight to UNIT, you know, so or like go straight to the military. So
if they leave willingly, or they just die, or they either die or get trapped in this like a different time stream. Like if you're not a Moffat companion, you can retire and work for UNIT. But like, I mean, because it's not really explored. I mean, we never really understand. I guess if I don't know, you get some stuff with Martha and Torchwood, but like I think
Martha's married to Mickey.
No, but I'm talking about like with PTSD, like talking about time with the Doctor, like talking about all that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But with this, it's like it feels like a new take because I don't think I've seen much of a companion really talking about how like
uneasy it is.
uneasy and scared they are.
Because like Sarah
without-
Jane went went back to being like a Doctor Who person. Like she went out to save the world again because she had gadgets and she had gizmos and you know,
Lil Canine.
no K9. But Ruby doesn't have that. She just wants to live.
I mean, she's still working for UNIT, so she's still trying to save the
Yeah,
world.
but
it's like the kind of personal, like level stuff about PTSD and the Doctor. I just haven't seen explore like that, and it's great. And the way that this episode goes is that you can never really escape that, and it's just it goes into a really interesting and mature direction with it. But I thought that was a really cool idea of having that be like the backdrop of this episode. Of course, there's stuff going on the forefront, but having that be explored is really good. And I guess moving on, the forefront theme of this with like misinformation, and the idea of this group of people who don't believe in UNIT and think they're wasting taxpayer dollars and stuff like that is a very topical episode.
Yeah,
and it's a great idea for an episode.
And always seem to be run by an egomaniac.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, that's the bigger thing. I like this idea for an episode. I think it's an episode that's, it feels a little bit too close to home, I guess. Because, I mean, we see this all the time. We see it with Trumpisms and stuff like that.
It's real. Like this episode is, I hate to be that guy, but if this was in real life, this would happen. If the Doctor was real, because Doctor Who's had to explain away so many times, like, oh, the public don't remember when the Daleks stole the Earth, like, the Amy forgot that happened because of the crack in the wall. Like, there's
a
these
reset.
There's always a reset. So when the Doctor does something like when everyone goes crazy in the streets because the toy maker makes them go crazy, or like when UNIT is visibly like UNIT and they're not like secret, like when they're like got the UNIT tower. So of course people would be like, why is there just this government tower saying that they take care of us, but we have no idea or no concept of it? It's because we know that if they see it, they would go crazy and they'd want to study the technology. And it touches on that fact how, imagine a dictator having the technology of a time portal, like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But like, again, who watches The Watchmen, type thing. But I think this episode, like, of course it's a Doctor Who episode, so it's not going to like have all the intricacies of that whole topic, but at least I'm glad it touched on it. And yeah, in real life, there would be a guy who runs a thing that sells merch, like all of them do. Like, even
we'll make a group.
Make a group that sell merch and have a hashtag and make an ID and stream on Twitch and pull their phones out to record and like throw. And this is what I really liked. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but what I really like about this episode is that it pokes fun at protests that throw around trigger words, like them going like, like them filming them and like around like the military and going like, oh, you're silencing us, and like, like calling them fascists, or like for silencing the people. It's very much like spreading a narrative of real bad things. It's like when people say, like I like having a tidy room because I have OCD, but you don't. You just say it because it's like a shorthand. Or like if someone's being mean to you, call them, oh, look at this Hitler over there. Using those like actual real words and real things to describe things that aren't like that, but they want to be seen as, they want to be prosecuted because they want something to complain about. Like this guy wants something to have an ego about. He wants this. So he wants to be in front of these people and call them these words so he can have sympathizers, Like UNIT, yes, did arrest them, but they didn't do anything in the meantime to have been called fascist or had to have been called these things. They like, so I really like how it goes into that thing of people using those words to anger people and to start a trigger mechanism, a catalyst of like this widespread of people, which be like, oh, if people weren't there, and if you just say, oh, these people silenced us and took away our freedom, people aren't going to go and look at the story or look at the recording. They're just going to listen to those words and then create their own narrative. And then there's no way for UNIT to justify themselves because they are a powerful business going against single people. And of course, people are going to believe the people, even if the people are egomaniacs like this guy. You know, even though he's like really rich, like they say, like he owns 3 estates and pays for his mother's house, and he's like a really rich guy pretending to be a working class guy. So I really like how people in power use these words, like this guy use those words and use those things to trigger people who are actually in those crises, people who actually live through oppression and live through fascism, and then these guys use those words around to get sympathy for things that they aren't actually going through. So I think, of course, it didn't explore that the whole way through, but it still touched on that fact, and I quite enjoyed that. Sorry, that was a long explanation.
That's okay. Yeah, I agree. No, but yeah, I agree. These people, exist. I mean, we live in a world of misinformation, and I think the big thing, part of this episode is, I mean, we live with people who, I agree with you, who take fear, who take, I guess fear and distrust and manipulate it, and then we see it all the time with world leaders, and we see it all the time with CEOs or whatever. It's a thing that happens, and it's effective. We've seen it, work all across the world. So having that be kind of the forefront with something, it really makes this world seem more real, and it makes this world seem more human, because this is a big thing. I mean, people, I agree with you. People would do this, and I think this character, I forgot his name. What's the main guy's name? Do you remember?
Conrad.
Conrad. I think Conrad, to me, like the way his characterization's another positive for me, because it's like he feels real. Like he feels like someone who he knows is wrong. Yeah. But he would never admit it because he needs that power, and he needs that. And to me, I think he's the scariest Doctor Who
because
villain.
You can't talk him out of it.
I know, because in my opinion, I think he's the scariest villain we've got so far in this Disney era, because it's like he's not a monster that can be stopped. It's just words and ideas that he uses. Like you can take him down, but his idea of what he's forced lives on.
He's
and I
so
think
stubborn.
It's a scary thing, and it's like, especially in that final scene with the Doctor and him in the TARDIS, when he knows he's wrong. Yeah, he can see that he's inside a TARDIS. He can he's being bitten by a creature. Yeah, and he's just not willing to admit it, that he's wrong. And and they humanize him as well with the opening scene. Yeah, his mum who slapped him and stuff, and I don't know what else that she's probably done to him. That he's a real guy that would do such things like this. And I think he needs, I don't know if he gets love out of, people agreeing with him. Like he needs something like this. But anyway, he's a very scary villain, and he's a villain that you want to be stopped. Yeah. Just like you want people like him in the real world to be stopped. So I think he's a very effective center point villain.
But the Doctor can't do the thing he does a lot, is speak his way out of things, talk and use his charisma, because he just does not listen. He has his own ways, and no matter what, even if he's proven wrong, he will never admit it. And because he just lives in his own reality and an own world that he builds, and he thinks he owns that world. He thinks he owns that power and truth. Again, like correlations to Donald Trump, whatever the truth is what he says. So when the Doctor confronts him, and then he says, "Get off my world," it's like, yes, you can see that as maybe a bit of racism, or you could see that as more of like he's an alien. I don't know. He doesn't know if the Doctor's an alien. He just knows that.
I'm pretty sure he does. He knows he has a time machine.
I know, but he doesn't know he's specifically an alien. But I think he's good to assume that he's not from Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's a racist thing.
No, I don't. It's just, but like what I'm saying is like that's and I think it's definitely a thing of like this is my reality. And this is my creation, and I can bend it to my will. And you are a person that is a threat to that. So get off my world I'm creating. This is mine now. Yeah. Like he took ownership of something he doesn't own. It's like a guy, I could go up to a guy's house and go, "I own this house," and then he can say, "No, he's right." But what if I stayed in that house and said, "No, this is my house," and I got people to agree with me, and then he got kicked out? It's like that could happen. Who's like things like that can happen. I could say, "I own this house." Someone could throw proof, show me the deed, and he could still be like, "No, I own this house." What proof? There's no proof. There's no proof, but I could say that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Anyway,
like
and
how
I
Keanu
think-
Reeves got signed up to the Watcher movie with his signature being forged, but he didn't want to disprove it because he couldn't.
Sorry, the Watcher.
Keanu Reeves got signed up to do a movie, The Watcher,
Oh, okay. I
in
see.
2002, and the director forged his signature, but except for trying to prove it, he just did the movie, and he hated it. He couldn't disprove it because that would take too long.
Right. Well, there you go.
There you go.
That's crazy. Gives me ideas though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And I get. Yeah. Okay. We'll move on.
Yeah.
The rest. I mean, to go on to that. I get. Okay. We'll go back for a second. I guess I really enjoyed that scene in Unit where, like, it felt very tense. Like, I gotta say, this whole episode felt like a thrill ride for me from beginning to start.
Yes.
What I mean by that, it's like all throughout there was moments of tension. Like
Yeah.
at the beginning, like when you think everything's all lovey-dovey, I had tension
Yeah.
around, oh, did he take the antidote or not?
Yeah.
And that whole thing was kind of cool and scary, and I didn't know. And then there's another twist on top of that, because
Yeah.
the twist was like, oh, he didn't take the antidote.
Yeah.
But then there's another twist that, oh, he's never been who he says he is. And then when it goes into him going into Unit, infiltrating, and going for Kate, going for Kate and going for like the group, that was really tense. And when Kate goes, screw it, we're gonna let this monster onto you, that was really cool. And I think having that, it felt satisfying as well, seeing Kate go on the edge like that.
Yeah.
And
When the dog was
go, you know
around.
what, I'm gonna give
The
you what you want.
spitefulness, because he called out her father.
Yeah.
And he was like, you don't do
Yeah,
that.
you don't do that.
You don't
Not
do
my
that.
boy, not my boy, Brigadier.
Yeah.
But that felt really cool. And then I think, it was crazy when he went, oh, great special effect, and
Yeah.
my God, I got so infuriated. So when he got chomped, that was funny. But I think all throughout there was lots of moments of tensions, lots of set pieces, twists upon twists upon twists, all within the same length of any episode of this season.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was more going on in this episode,
This episode
than
felt so
most
full.
episodes of the season.
It felt so full.
It felt like a full episode from beginning to start, because there's a lot of stuff where, I mean, I like some, like, I don't know, there's some episodes where things kind of just, there's one thing that happens and then the next thing, and it's not really, I know it's a very simple thing to say, oh, there's different twists upon twists upon twists, because that's a lot of Doctor Who episodes like that. But I don't know, I just, from beginning to start, I was entertained, and I think the pacing was really good. I guess overall positives, the pacing's really
the very
for this
good pacing,
episode.
because it felt like a lot more happened in the 50-something minutes that it was. And I think you pointed it out, but another positive I have is I did not see that twist, the big one of him, Conrad.
Being a bad guy.
Yeah. I had no, because my brain was like, oh, I thought, because like all I knew about this episode was that Ruby gets a boyfriend. All I knew.
Yeah.
So, and it starts off from his perspective, we're seeing from what he's seeing. And I was like, oh, I thought the story was going to be how Ruby deals with the Doctor being away while having a guy trying to live up to be the Doctor for her. So he's like, how does she live a life being known as the companion of the Doctor? Like, how is that going to make her struggle? And how is that going to affect her dating life and her life? Because, everyone's like, oh, she hasn't brought up the Doctor in like a week now. And this guy constantly brings her back to the past. So I thought that was going to be the main point. And I was like, we're only halfway through the episode and we're already at where all the shrieks are surrounding the pub. I was like, oh, my brain was like, this is the end of the episode. Like, I thought I was like, oh, we're already at the end. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, because I didn't look at the time and I was like, just chilling there. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a fast episode. Like, maybe there's a whole episode going to be set in the pub. I literally had no idea. And I was like, oh, the twist is that he's not drunk the thing. And like, that's the twist. And I'm like, oh, no. Because I'm not really expecting much from Doctor Who. I was just kind of expecting that story. Like, I wasn't expecting a big twist because it's Doctor Who. It's not like I'm watching an M. Night movie or like a James Wan movie. I'm not expecting a twist. So I was like, okay, it's just going to be like a simple story where Ruby learns that she has to say no to this guy because he's being weird, and he's trying to be the Doctor and frick you, like I was like, okay, cool. So when he goes out and then the Shriek stand up and like take off their masks, I thought it was like, oh no, the friends are bullying him and making fun of him and his girlfriend, trying to like, make a drive out of him and like split the group and like, and freak around with him, So I was like, oh my God, that's so tragic. But then when there's the reveal of he was part of it, I felt betrayed. I was like, no, dude, what the hell? Because like obviously I knew that Ruby wasn't going to continue to date this guy because he was too toxic to be around, because he was so reminding her of the Doctor, and there would have been a weird redemption arc for him. But I was like, oh no, that sucks. And then I was like, oh no, this guy sucks. Like this guy like actually is a terrible guy. And I was like, oh my god. And I had no idea it was going to go to this conspiracy theorist route. Like there was nothing leading up to that point. It was just a guy who ran a podcast who just likes Doctor Who. Like, and then because I think I had low expectations for this episode, I literally like this episode I was not looking forward to, because I was like, we just had a great episode of The Well. And I thought this was just going to be a simple back to basics Doctor Who episode. So I was pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting that twist. I was expecting something to happen with this guy. But I was not expecting him to become the main villain I care about over Mrs. Flood.
For me, I didn't expect this twist exactly. I have a problem with, because I watch a lot of like Doctor Who videos.
Yeah.
And I think I basically see like a lot of Doctor Who theory videos, and I see a lot of because there was a massive leak. Basically, there was a massive leak at the start of the year or something. And I didn't know what was in the leak, but I think some of the stuff that was in the leak trickled down to these Doctor Who videos, and they would mention it, and I didn't realize it was part of a leak.
Right.
So the fact him being part of his own conspiracy group was I have heard of it.
Right.
But that was ages ago, so I wasn't expecting it. But there's like two main theories of what's going to happen with this guy. So I knew he was going to be evil. Like I never knew he was going to be good. I just thought he was going to be like work. I think he was going to try to like do whatever he can to find the Doctor and be a little bit evil. But I forgot about that twist then. So I did, when that twist happened, I was like, oh, I do remember that a little bit.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I don't like knowing this stuff, because I kind of have had everything spoiled for me so far in this first half of the season.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know the Midnight Entity was in the last episode.
Yeah.
But like, I discussed it beforehand with you. I was like, but that's okay. But like, but yeah, the twist was still impactful for me. I still enjoyed the twist. I still thought it was great. And I didn't know exactly what everything was going to happen with it.
Yeah.
I will say I think I might know where the season's going based off what someone said. I hope it's not true. I'm not going to say to you because I don't ruin it for you. But there's something that's like classic Who related that makes me go, oh, I might know who Mrs. Flood is now because if this theory is correct. Which I have another theory as well, another idea for a theory, which I'll talk to you now in this episode, which isn't part of that. But But anyway, I knew where this. I didn't know where this was going, but I was like, oh, the twist still worked for me. But yeah. Okay, I'll move on to another positive. I now kind of have like smaller little positives. I think the big ones are kind of, because we just kind of did a whole debrief. I think this is my first time where I really do like the family dynamics of Ruby's family. I thought that I didn't like her before, but I never found the granny very funny. Like I thought, oh, we have a granny who's a little bit sassy. Yeah. But I never thought she was like like someone I would enjoy watching. Yeah. But in this episode, she was actually genuinely funny.
Because it wasn't written by Russell T Davies.
maybe. I don't like hating on RTD. I know. I get it. It's fun. It's fun. I get it. Like I mean, RTD. Like that era is not even my era of the show. But like,
I'm teasing.
Yeah. No, but it's true. It's like, But maybe. It's okay. Continue the bullying. I don't mind. But the granny was funny. The Wicker Man thing was funny. Yeah. I think everyone was good. The mother was good. I still don't, and the two mothers were good. I still don't think they're the best family the show's had. To be honest with you. But there's not many families other than like Jackie that I think are very entertaining in the show or even explored really. Like you got Rory's dad who's like peak. I love Rory's dad. But you don't get like a full family. No. So it's kind of hard to do a full family and make them all interesting. But it's doing its job because we're not going to see these characters too often to be honest. So it's like they're fine. It was nice seeing them. I'll move on to another one. I went hell yeah at the unit montage. There was just when they called when Ruby was just in the town and she called unit and all this like helicopter started coming. I was like, hell yeah, unit montage.
I think that goes a point that I had that it proves that Doctor Who can work without the Doctor like for a bit. Like I think there should be a more frequency of like kind of seeing what life without the Doctor is. I think that's an interesting premise that could be done more, but obviously not because it's about the Doctor.
Yeah, especially when you got 8 episodes. Yeah. But Of course, I gotta mention seeing the American News Lady was an absolute delight. I screamed. I've never been so like I never have made such an audible reaction.
She's back
in Doctor Who when I saw her. I was like, oh my god, it's the lady.
Was she in the Giggle?
Not in Disney. I don't think she was in.
Okay, because I remember there was one American person, the Giggle. Who she was like,
I swear,
I'm anti-band.
Yeah, I swear it
was that her? Okay, yeah, I know. Because when I saw her, I was like, oh, you're the one who always does the close-ups of like the mouth, you know.
But it was great seeing her because she was in 2000. She was in the 2005 season, so it's like 20 years, and it's good to see her. And I was just like, oh, they got her back, which is great. And it was kind of weird seeing her be a little bit mean, but I guess she's just how it is. And what else? I think. Oh, I really am loving how the TARDIS is lit in the past few episodes, and specifically this one. I like it with the orangey and bluish lights, because last season my favorite way the TARDIS was lit was in Rogue, and I really like that. But how like orangey it is, that's what I like. I like the warmness of the TARDIS, because to me it's very
cold,
not sterile, but I don't like a pure white TARDIS.
It looks very cold and unpleasant.
Yeah, and to me like it's big, and it's great that it's big, but it's not very like warm and inviting and it seems like a place I want to hang out.
My favorite part of this is my least favorite part, but my favorite part of the TARDIS is that he has a jukebox back there, and it feels so out of place.
Yeah.
It's just like, I have a jukebox in this sterile room.
Like, it'd be great if, like, I don't know. He was using the Beatles episode kind of. Maybe cool if we got it from the Beatles. I don't know. It's never used really that much, besides the montages when they're getting dressed. So it's just, but it's, I feel like, I like the lighting of this, and that's how I want the TARDIS to be lit. Yeah. Because the pure white just doesn't work for me. But when it's lit like that, I love that. So
this episode was directed very well. I think the episode had like great cinematography and great lighting, like the night sequence, like inside a unit, like the third act. Like, ooh,
sure,
100%. You know, that was like good stuff.
100%. And the fireworks are cool. I like the opening.
Yeah.
I was a little bit. We'll get to negatives, but I was a little bit disappointed. It's the start of 2007, so Harold Saxon wasn't there yet. Yeah, there was no Master yet. But I was thinking it's such a weird choice to choose 2007 when that's a significant year for Earth in Doctor Who, that they didn't have any mention. They could have chose 2006.
They just needed the guy to be of an age.
I know, but like you can make him a year older or something. 2007 got a lot of Doctor Who fans, including myself, going, "Oh, is that going to be significant? Because is that going to have?" Maybe not to you, but like a lot of us was like, "It's the
Saxon year.
It's series 3."
Okay.
So it's when the Master was Prime Minister, like when he was.
Yeah, but this is New Year's 2007.
I know, but like, I still having to be 2007 got me a little bit disappointed. It was like I was expecting. Because that's a significant year for Earth and Doctor Who. Yeah. That was like, but it could, because I wouldn't be at all disappointed if it was just 2006 New Year's. But the fact it was 2007, it's a small positive, negative.
No, I get that.
Just like, that had me disappointed. But it's not a massive one. And then I guess the final positive I have before I'm happy to move on to the negatives is, I'm finally care about Mrs. Flood. Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like
she actually did something.
She was like, oh, okay, she's evil. So I throughout I've said to you, I thought she was going to be a twist where she's good, everyone. But she finally did something that made me go, she's setting things into plan. And I am, now intimidated by her, kind of. Not intimidated by her, but like, I'm like, I'm interested in what Mrs. Flood is now doing. Yeah. And all these days, I think maybe she's the god of storytelling, or like the story, because she's breaking the fourth wall, and she's, I don't know. But I think, it's the first inclusion of her in New Who. I was like, oh, cool, she's there, and she actually did something to further the plot. She actually did something to push the plot. Yeah. So that's a positive. It doesn't mean that all those other times are forgotten, but on the same time, it's good. Alrighty, I'm ready to move on to negatives. Do you want to start off with one? Or
my negative happens at the very end. It's not really negative, it's just kind of a nitpick. So he got a new arm?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's like, is that...
because like he was looking at it like
clamp.
this.
It's a clamp.
He was like
thing,
looking
yeah.
at it like he was like moving his arm. Is it that like his arm got decapitated and it got put back on, and that was a clamp, or was it a new arm?
I don't know.
Like who?
Why give him another
is that
arm?
Earth technology or is that
It's probably
unit technology?
It's probably unit technology because that's.
Don't give this guy an
It's
arm.
on their dime. Like they set the monster on him.
Yeah,
like they
but,
kind of
like,
are.
Don't give him.
He does. Of course, we hate him, but like
Yeah, don't give
they
him
would
an
have to
arm.
give him a new arm. Yeah.
You're not giving an arm and a leg if you.
Yeah. I think a negative for me, and this is, I think a lot of the negatives I have, and I'm sure maybe similar to you, they're not full blown negatives. I think it's more nitpicks with this episode. One of my negatives was I do think it could be wrong, but I would have liked, I get it now that the doctor, everything that's happened at, so this is like before May 24th.
Yeah.
So the doctor hasn't gone off to see Belinda yet.
Uh-huh.
I understand that now.
Yeah.
It could be a little bit clearer.
Sure.
Because when he has that kind of like, we don't know if that actually was the doctor at the end, like when he talks to him, because it's not very clear if that's a real conversation or something that maybe Mrs. Flood put in his brain or something like that.
Sure.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's ambiguity I'm not against, but I'm just a little bit. It could have been a little bit
Clearer.
better if I don't know if at the start of the episode they showed like the timestamp of like this is April something instead of May, because my brain, I guess if you were just watching this, I for some reason automatically assumed, oh, the doctor can't get back and this is what's going on, and
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that anymore. So it's not that big of a deal. I don't think it ruins the episode.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for nitpicks, they could be a little bit more clear.
Yeah, I think I just assumed that it was before May because I was like, oh, the Earth is still here.
Yeah.
So
Which is like, I'm sure most
yeah.
people do. So maybe it's just a me thing. But I just thought.
No, but I get that because I had to make that assumption. You know, like
Yeah.
it wasn't given.
They
to
could
me
be a
at
little
all.
bit more clear with that. But that's fine. Do you want to give us something? I can move on to another one.
I would say it's not a negative. It's kind of funny that they really make good costumes. the Rusty, what was the guy? Zappy.
Yeah. How are they able to make a really good
Really
replica?
accurate replica.
I guess
noises.
that's just how it is.
I know, like it's not a nitpick. No, it's not a negative. It's just
Yeah.
like a damn. They look. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess it's like to prove that it's possible to fake it. Like it's like look, we faked it, so that unit can fake it.
Yeah. True.
Like if we can do it, they can do it. Also, we didn't mention this in the negatives, but this episode made me really care for Ruby. Like again, I know I told you that Ruby wasn't like really a favorite. This episode made me go like, no, Ruby like can do stuff.
I think we just forget that.
Yeah.
I think if you go back and watch season 1 again, if I went back to watch season 1 again, I would still know that.
This made me appreciate Ruby more.
Wow,
so,
yeah, because we're getting it felt good to have Ruby back. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm in the Anyway, I think a negative for me, and this isn't a crazy negative, and I don't think this is an absolutely horrible thing that the show's done. Is I've always felt uneasy about this plot aspect it's not horrible, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but having the relationship between Kate Stewart and it's a Commander,
the security guy,
Commander Handsome or something, whatever his name is.
Let her have
Captain
some
Handsome.
fun. Let her have sex.
I agree, but when she's the boss of him
Yeah.
and she has she can decide if he
Yeah.
has a job, it's kind
Yeah.
of not a good representation thing to have.
Yeah.
I get it, and I think cool, not cool, but it's something that's the messaging isn't. It's not a good message to have for young people, maybe.
To have a key position of power.
That being said, I want Kate to be in a good relationship, in a good. But it's something that's always been a thing that when it happened, I don't know if it happened in the Giggle or not the Giggle.
It was implied.
But when it happened at the end of Empire of Death, it was kind of a thing where it's that's maybe not a good thing to have, because it's just So having this be continued, I'm fine with it now, and I'm but I know there's a part of the Doctor Who community that's really against it, and
I can see that.
I can see that. So having that still be there, I agree. It's
definitely not nepotism, but kind of like special privilege of this guy because you're just sex with, and because it's a female boss, it can make people, it can has a stigma against that kind of.
I don't want to be like
representation.
the roles are reversed, gang. The idea of just having a boss and and
it's like the
and
movie
boy.
Baby Girl.
I saw that at a Moonlight screening.
When
When it came out, it was like we watched it in Centennial.
Did you?
I watched it in
Did
Centennial
you letterbox
Park.
it?
No, because it was before Letterboxd. Or before I watched Letterboxd. When did Oh no, Baby Girl.
Baby Girl. What were
I'm
you
thinking
thinking
of something else. I'm thinking of yeah, I'm thinking of something different. Sorry, I was thinking.
I was like, this came out earlier this
my
year.
brain got confused. I thought of it was like a Blonde or something. It's about like
Bombshell?
Bombshell.
No.
I'm thinking of Bombshell.
Bombshell.
My bad. That was like ages ago.
Yeah.
Bombshell.
Baby Girl is the
Nicole
Nicole
Kidman.
Kidman. Yeah.
My bad. But that bit was a little nitpicky. I was like, I don't know if I
No,
love
I
that
get that.
aspect. I'm trying to think of other stuff. I mean, it felt too close to home, so I just felt like my safe space, which was Doctor Who, was
I
now
wish
been
they-
infiltrated.
I wish they kind of explored the mole that they had in Unit because he kind of just shows up. I guess no, that's
I don't
not,
really
that's,
care.
Yeah, again,
Okay.
I can't. I don't really.
The
I
thing
can't really
is-
think
the
of
thing is,
much.
there's not many, like, I don't know. I'll get into. Okay, well, if we move on to our ratings
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
although there's not much to complain about this episode, I don't know if I don't know if I love it more than The Well.
No, but I
Maybe you do. I don't know.
I still like it.
Of course,
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I think it's.
I like it
overall
more. I like it more than
well-made
Lux.
episode. I think I've got more things to dislike about The Well than I do about this episode.
Yeah,
But I think just the
'Cause The Well is-
the stuff that happens in
yeah.
The Well,
so cool.
because I watched it again, made me more hyped.
Yeah,
But this is like it's a very well made episode.
and it's a solid episode without having a past like monster come back.
Yeah.
you know?
So I think if I had to give this a rating, I'll put it on A.
yeah, I put it on A.
Close to an S. I gave an
Yeah.
S to The Well. I don't know. I think this is a very good episode.
Yeah.
And it's a great step in direction for the show. I'm excited to see how it develops. I feel like, yeah, things are happening now. Because I think with last season, it was like
You had one story.
it was a Monster of the Week
Yeah.
season where different stories were happening, and there's a thread at the end,
Yeah.
but there was nothing else going on that was leading to it. There was there was something tiny in what was the Ruby episode called? 73 Yards.
Yeah.
With the guy who was like who really wanted a nuclear, like that dude who
Yeah.
wanted to nuke everything.
Yeah.
He did come up again in the finale. So I feel like we have a similar thing like this again. One thing I would say, these two seasons, while they're different episodes, they have the same format.
They have the same.
They have
exact
like
same format.
each episode is episode 1 is the
goofy,
goofy kind
different
of
world
opening
one.
episode.
Yeah.
The second one is the god of something who's very
Yeah.
silly. The third episode
dark,
is the
bricked up
serious
one.
sci-fi episode.
Yeah.
That's for my opinion the best
Yeah.
of the season. And then episode 4 is the Ruby episode.
Yeah, where the doctor isn't there.
And then episode 5 is more on the Doctor and possibly. I mean, I don't know what episode 5 is going to be about, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes into race politics because this one's set in Nigeria. So the fact that Dot and Bubble did that makes sense. And then episode 6 is a parody of a TV show, which we got the parody of Eurovision and the parody of Bridgerton as like episode
Oh my
6.
God.
And then there's a 2-part finale where the world is ending. And it's
Oh
the
my
exact. It's
God.
the exact
It's the
same
exact same
structure.
thing.
It's the exact same.
it's
structure.
crazy, but this one's better.
This one's like the same thing
Way
but better.
Yeah.
But I think I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, prove me wrong in the next episode. It might not be
Yeah.
about race politics, but
Yeah.
but I don't, not that it matters, but
It's just funny.
I just think, oh, RTD has made a structure.
Yeah.
And it's following the structure, which isn't. I don't hate it,
No.
but it's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's this episode. Good episode. Season's going good. I don't think
Yeah.
there's an episode I hate this season.
No.
And well, Space Baby's in the last one. So yeah, it's doing much better. And I'm excited. And I'm very excited for the next one.
Yeah.
That's the one where I
I'm
had the
very
cool shots
curious.
in the trailer. And I don't know what it's about. It's called.
No, I want to know nothing. This
What's it? No,
episode.
I'm trying to think what's called though. I forgot. It was like the. Oh no! It had the very strange name. It was like the something. And
Xylophone.
The something. No, it's the something, and the something.
The Lion, the Witch, and the
No,
Wardrobe.
what was it called? We're gonna figure out the episode name. No, what is it called?
I have no
Search it
idea.
up. Search
Okay.
up. It's like the
Whim and the Womb and the Wombat.
still and the will, or the steel and the something. Hold up. Hold up. The I'm trying to get it before I type it in. Episode. What's it called? The Story and the Engine.
Okay, so as complicated as you.
The Story and the Engine.
Story engine. The story engine. Isn't that a thing?
No, the Story
engine?
and the Engine.
I know, but isn't the story engine a thing? I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway,
Anyway.
that is the episode 4 of season 2. Lucky Day.
Also, I like how it incorporates the first episode of Ruby being unlucky, and this is episode another Ruby episode.
Oh,
that's
also,
lucky.
I would have liked nitpick. I know it's not their fault,
Uh-huh.
but I would have liked this to be before the Beatles episode, so we get like so we know why Ruby in episode 2 goes, "Oh, you never run," like in the Devil's Cord, where like they seems like because 6 months has passed
Yeah.
between those two. This would have been cool if this was part of that 6 months. It would have made it feel more better if this was part of it. Because
Which part of this?
in the opening bit,
Yeah.
like where we
That
get,
was in between. Okay.
that was after Devil's
Yeah.
Cord. I would prefer this to be before Devil's Cord, so we can get like some of the context for that 6 months. This massive gap in between episode 1 and episode 2.
Why did they have that gap?
There's lots of theories.
Uh-huh.
The main theory that people believe is that this wasn't meant to be episode 2. They just moved it up to episode 2 because Disney wanted them to.
The Devil's Cord.
The Devil's Cord. It was meant to be like a later episode
Uh,
because the 6 months then. But like, that's why, because they already like know so much of each other.
yeah.
But it was meant to be a one that was like that's the theory. It's never been confirmed, but because that's the theory. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, that's this
Anyway.
episode. I hope you enjoyed it yourself. Tell us what you think in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching and listening and doing what you're doing. And halfway, people. We're halfway in the season. Let's go. Other 4. Let's make them good. Let's do it.
Every episode of Banger.
So far, great. So, and I'm excited. Next one, I'm hyped for.
Yeah.
And then there's the Eurovision episode, which is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway. I hope you're doing well. Live long and prosper. We're recording this on May the 4th, so may the Force be with you.
Oh.
And yeah.
Wow.
Happy day, lucky day.
Lucky day.
Yeah. And what's your message to the person listening right now?
Don't look down.
Don't look down. Well, there you go. Don't look down.
Mm-hmm.
See you later, everyone. Goodbye.